Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Wait and See with Celeste Lynch. I'm Celeste Lynch, and let's get started. So, as you can tell from the title of this episode, today I'm going to be talking to you guys about going back to school, and particularly going back to school in the pandemic, which is going on right now, and it looks very different for people all over the country, all over the world, but I'm just going to tell you how it is for me. So, just so you guys have some context, I'm in my junior year, and I'm doing a hybrid model, which means on Mondays I go to school online, and then on Tuesdays I go to school in person, Wednesday I go to school in person, and then Thursday and Friday is online. So it's very different, even like in school. And I was surprised how different it was. I knew that it was going to be different with the online learning, like learning at home, but actually being at school, things have changed so much for me. Um, we have to have our computers all the time, which is something I'm not used to having to do in school. In school, I know some schools have it where they'll give you like a Chromebook and you bring it back and forth and use it every day at school. My school was not like that before the whole pandemic. So, how my school did things was most things were on paper, and if it was online, teachers would use computer carts and you would use the school's computer. But now there's computers available for people who don't have them to take them back and forth, but everyone is expected to bring their own. So I take my own computer to school because I have my own. And it's so weird because in school we have to log into Zooms so that we can do work with the people who are out of school. So sometimes I feel like I just went to school to be on Zooms all day, which is kind of strange. And just everyone has to wear a mask, which hasn't been as weird as I thought. Just because I'm used to seeing people wearing masks all the time out in public anyway. I had never worn a mask for that long, so in school, I have to wear my mask the whole time, except for lunch. Lunch is interesting. Um, there's no social distancing at lunch, which is kind of confusing to me just because we have a new cafeteria and they're limiting it to 90 people, and it's like every other seat is marked off at the tables, but one seat apart is not that much, and no one is wearing their masks because everyone is eating. So I guess that's like allowed. I'm not too, I wasn't too nervous about it until there's one case reported in my school of coronavirus, which is a little scary. But we've been told that they've been quarantined and that the people in close contact with them have been quarantined. Um, so I hope everyone is doing okay, especially the person who got it. I don't know who it is, and obviously they weren't going to tell us for privacy reasons, but yes, it was pretty scary to hear that because they sent us an email late at night. It was like, oh, by the way, um, and it was a little nerve wracking, but I'm calm. Just the fact that I've been wearing my mask. I've been very vigilant with hand washing, hand sanitizer, trying to sort of keep my distance for the most part, even though it can be kind of hard when you're around big groups of people or just even small groups of people to keep that distance when we're so used to being close to each other, especially at school. My school luckily has been under renovation, so we have, I would say about half the school is like brand new, and the classrooms are a lot bigger than the old part of the school, and they're like the seats there are 6 feet apart, and I think it's a lot cleaner just because not as much dust has built up there yet. I say yet because my school is dusty, especially with the new construction. um, but yeah, I think it's just weird to be in school doing everything online anyway, because yeah, like, it's just strange. In my math class, we do use more paper. It's a nice break to not have to use my computer the whole time because I really don't like staring at a screen all day. It really hurts my eyes. I don't even realize it. Um, in my house when I do online school, I use the blue light glasses that a lot of people have been wearing. But when you're wearing your mask and you wear glasses, it fogs up and then you can't see, at least for me. So I don't know how glasses wearers are doing it, but I have not been able to figure that out. So I don't wear them to school. And yeah, I just try to look far away when I can. Yes. So I actually, to prepare for this episode, I wrote some things down throughout the course of the week, and I asked myself sort of different questions. So I'm going to see what I've already addressed and what I haven't. Overall, my classes haven't been that bad. So it is my junior year, and I have a very, very heavy workload. I have 3 APs, 2 honors, and exhibition, which in my school, it's sort of like it's a project that you have to do to graduate, and you have a semester to do it, and you have a class period allocated. So it's really not that bad. Um, I finally figured out what my exhibition is going to be. Just to let you know, I'm going to be learning to make Honduran food. I'm going to make like a video series about it as my exhibition project. So that's what I've been working on a little bit. But oh, and I also have an advanced journalism class. So it's definitely a heavy workload. Um, and it's just been hard to adjust, especially the first day of school. So my first day of school was actually online. So everyone in my school is online on Monday, and we have every single one of our classes. And that day was really stressful because I didn't really know the schedule, and I had to deal with so many tabs and documents and syllabi and videos. And we actually didn't have any Zooms that day, which I was really surprised. Once I got in person, it was a lot easier to manage the stress and the workload, and I was on my computer less. Um, I actually have one teacher who's all virtual, and that is very strange because she she works from home completely, and we have a long-term sub, and his job is basically to project the Zoom onto the board and sort of like supervise, I guess, while she teaches us. It's really strange, but I've been getting used to it. At first, I thought that the online days would be really hard, like the Thursday and Friday, where half of the school is in person and half is online. So when I'm online, I don't feel that stressed out because I actually get to sleep in a little bit. I just have to do a little check-in for my advisory, which is kind of like our homeroom, to say that, like, okay, I'm here. And then I kind of just go back to bed or start getting ready a little bit. And then I get onto my first class at 8 a.m., which sounds pretty early, but like for high school, if you can wake up at close to 8 a.m., like that's really good. Because usually on school days, I wake up at 6:30. And, that's very early in the morning. I would say it's too early for human functions, but you know what? It's not my call. And we also have this thing called Lions Block. So on Wednesdays and Fridays, we have Lions Block, and that's sort of a time where it's kind of like a study period. And I've been able to get a lot done to manage my workload there, especially right now because I have driver's ed, and driver's ed has not been that fun. It's really boring, and it's online, so it's just draining, especially because my first day I had driver's ed. So the first day I was online for like 8 hours, and I was really just not having it at all. In a way, I like in person better because I like being around people and my friends, but at the same time, like, I don't really have a lot of friends in my classes or in the group I'm in, like the alphabet group I'm in to go to school. So it can be a little lonely, but I do have one person who's in like almost all my classes, and she and I have been in every class together since freshman year pretty much. So we get along really well, and it's been nice to like talk with her and hang out with her and get to know her better. But it is strange just compared to how things used to be. And in person is a lot, I mean, online is a lot more relaxed than I thought it would be. But the only thing about online is that I have a hard time to find motivation, or like just the energy, because my house is a very low energy place. Like, there's not much going on here. My bed is in my room, which is where I do school, and it's so easy to get distracted. And it's hard to really focus and be productive, especially on my online lectures, because I can just like, for some of them, I could just literally turn off my camera and just get into bed and just like quote listen, but really I'm not listening. So it's been difficult. I've been trying to like stay in the same place because I've heard that tip of like, if you work in the same designated space, you can focus better. So I've been trying to do that. Today I had my first test, and it was online, and that was really strange because we had to like be on a Zoom, but he wanted us to put our video so that he could see our keyboard area, see when we weren't cheating. But it's on the screen. So how I did it is I had my phone like pointed so I could work without having to move the computer, but it was very odd. I don't know how they're preventing cheating. I'm not cheating. I promise I'm not cheating. but I feel like it would be easy for someone to cheat, like, if they were just kinda smart about it, if they really wanted to. Um, and I have a test tomorrow, also at home for calculus, which is a little scary. Calculus is actually my favorite class, even though it's pretty hard, just because it challenges me and I like to solve problems. The teacher I feel like is really engaging, and he does really well at um, explaining difficult topics, and he's really good about giving us feedback. Like, I did an assignment, a formative assignment, and I didn't do that well on it, and he sent me a personal email saying like, "Oh, like, you should look over this because it looks like you're struggling, like, let me know if you have any questions." And that is one of the good things about, um, this whole hybrid thing is there's half the students in the classroom, but the teachers so they can give you more attention theoretically, but the teachers have to teach the in-person students and the virtual students at the same time. So that's kind of strange. Sometimes they'll project our faces, like, if we're online on the board, and guys, I look like a whole potato, so I don't know, like, I don't know. I just hope that my face doesn't look, like, all weird. Sometimes it'll lag. Oh my gosh. I have a little story time for y'all. In my A-Push class yesterday, they had, like, a Zoom and not a Zoom, a Google Meet. I hate Google Meet. I hate Google Meet. It is so laggy compared to Zoom, at least for me. And so I'm on this Google Meet, and I left the meeting when he said to leave the meeting, but he still had it projected. And because the internet was so bad and it was so laggy, it literally was as if I was still frozen on the meeting, and I was adjusting my mask, but I had my finger right by my nose, covered by my mask. So it kind of was like I was picking my nose through my mask, which is not what was happening, and it was just projected on the board for a solid 2 minutes while everyone looked. The people in person, not people online, because they didn't have to see that. But that was really embarrassing. And just other things, because I make a lot of really, like, weird facial expressions. If you know me, you know I'm a very expressive person, and when it freezes on one of my facial expressions, oh my gosh, y'all, I get so embarrassed. And sometimes the teachers make you keep your video on the whole time so they can see you and make sure you're paying attention. And it's not okay. It's really not. It's really embarrassing, and I've seen other people, like, get stuck and they look like a potato too. So we're all just potatoes together. And I was listening to another podcast actually, and they were saying that, like, we all think that people are looking at us, which I think is true because I'm always like, oh my gosh, I look so bad on this Zoom or on this Google Meet, and no one is looking at you. Like, I think about it, I'm like, I don't even look at the other people on Zoom. I either look at the teacher or look at myself. And yeah, but a little trick for us insecure people is there's a Zoom setting that can, like, adjust the lighting to make you look kind of better, and you can put, like, touch up my appearance. I put it on, like, a pretty low level. That way it wasn't too obvious. It just make you look a little more alive, a little more awake for your 8 a.m. classes, because we all know 8 a.m.s are not the wave. Period, point blank. Yeah, so the schedule, now I understand it, but it was definitely confusing, and there's just been a lot of adjustment lately. This year, I knew it was gonna be hard even before the pandemic just because it is my junior year and I have a lot of stuff that I have to work on. But with the pandemic, it just brings, like, a whole different layer of difficulty and just decision making. All of our after school activities have been canceled except for some sports. My tennis season is still going on, but I've opted not to do tennis just because I have driver's ed and it's like 4 or 5 weeks this season. It's not even that long. So I've decided that it's not really great for me to be doing that, especially if I want to work, get a job, as in, like, get a job, and I have so much school that it's just not really worth it for me, especially because I'm not someone who relies on sports for, like, college and stuff. I'm not an athlete by any means, so it just was the best decision for me. And I'm kind of happy in a way that all of the after school activities were canceled because I barely have enough time to finish all my work through the night. Now with driver's ed and just the crazy amount of work I have. But at the same time, it is a little concerning for, like, college applications, and I know that they're gonna know the circumstances. Everyone in the world is going through this. I don't think there's a single place in this world that hasn't been affected by the pandemic, and so I know that they're gonna be sympathetic, or I don't know if sympathetic is the word, but just empathetic to the circumstances. At the same time, like, I'm sure other schools have certain extracurriculars going on, and I'm gonna have none for my junior year, and I had so many things that I wanted to do. I wanted to try out to be assistant tech director for a variety show, and I don't think we're gonna have a variety show this year. And just different leadership positions that I wanted to take on, making varsity for the tennis team, doing a really interactive exhibition project. I wanted to maybe start a club or something, and that's just not feasible right now. Um, and that's something that I know they're going to understand, but in my head, it's still a little concerning, just the uncertainty of everything. I mean, I don't even know if I'm gonna take SATs, if we're gonna have SATs, um, and, like, if it's gonna be required. I know that they had some SATs in really small groups, but a lot of schools are taking away the requirement, and so there's just a lot of uncertainty right now as to how things are gonna be once I start applying for college in the summer, and yeah, it's a wild ride, and everyone has been affected by it, and just being in school now, it's like, it's so different. It's so different, but it could be worse. I could be all online. There's some districts in Rhode Island who have been required to be all online. There's some students who have to be all online because of their parents or their grandparents or even their own sort of medical situations. Um, and yeah, so I actually set out a poll on the Wait and See Instagram. So if you haven't followed it, go follow it so that you can respond to these polls. It's at Wait and See Podcast. And an overwhelming majority of you guys said that you were worried about being back to school, which really interested me because I know a lot of schools have the option for online, even though I know it's not that great, but people have said, like, my school doesn't have social distancing, or they feel unsafe, they feel like people aren't wearing their masks correctly. At my school, I feel like most people have done well with, like, keeping their masks on, social distancing, and they definitely enforce it a lot. But I know at other schools it's not like that at all. Um, and it's just been interesting to see, like, students' perspectives. Teachers have been asking us, like, "Oh, like, what do you think about all of this?" And um, I actually am writing a story for my journalism class about how students and teachers have had to adjust. And I've asked fully virtual students and hybrid students, and a lot of the virtual students have said, like, I don't feel like it's safe to go back. And honestly, I'm not sure if I agree with that just because of all of the measures, but I feel like it's only safe if people actually follow it. And, you can never have 100% following of the rules for people, especially people who don't want to listen. And just the fact that someone, did test positive in my school does make me worried, but I don't want that worry to hinder my education because I know myself. I know how I work, and I know I don't work best at home, even though I am home, like, most of the time. So it really is just figuring it out and outweighing and sort of weighing, like, risk versus reward. And for me, I feel like the reward of being at school is much higher than the risks if I'm vigilant. And I'm, lucky to be in very small classes, and most of them are AP and honors, which means the students, I feel like, are pretty responsible people, and, they're, like, rule followers, for the most part, and so they all wear their masks and we all social distance. And a lot of my most of my classes are in the new section of the school, so I have a lot more social distancing capabilities in there. Some parts of the school we are sort of still pretty crammed, even though there is less people. So, not 6 feet or not even like 3 feet. I would say, like, maybe two. And so I think it's just sort of seeing what happens. I really hope that there isn't an outbreak at my school, and I really hope that we can stay going because I do like the hybrid model. I do like the fact that I get to have some slower mornings and some more fast-paced mornings. I get some interaction, but also the safety. But it is an adjustment for everyone, and I don't think anyone's lives have been untouched by this. And, I know some people who love online school. They're like, "Yeah, I don't wanna see y'all, like, bye." and they enjoy that, but at least for me, I do enjoy the social aspect of school, even if it is just being around people I don't know that well. My exhibition class is really fun because there's only like 5 kids in the classroom at a time for that class, and they're all people I like know relatively well, or at least I've known them for a long time. So it's a lot of fun, especially the girl that's next to me. She and I are always laughing. Like my exhibition teacher, if you ever listen to this, we're always having fun in that class. He's like, y'all are giggling too much, but I don't care. He's the only class I really have fun in. And yeah, it's a lot to get used to. I'm trying to stay consistent with uploading throughout the school year, just trying to make a schedule for myself. So this is the first episode I've recorded since starting school. I think the last episode was published on the 16th. Today is the 24th where I'm recording this. And I actually recorded that before school started so that I could have some time to adjust. So hopefully I still have time to talk to y'all because I really do enjoy the podcast, especially with journalism. I feel like taking that journalism class, I can sort of like tie whatever I'm writing about or researching with the podcast, and hopefully I can do well in all aspects because I love the podcast and I really want to grow it. It's become more and more of something that I think about on a regular basis. Like, how can I incorporate different things? I want to start maybe making some videos on the YouTube channel. I know I say that a lot, but maybe like vlogs, stuff like that. I might want to make like a day in the life of the online student. So we'll see. But I have been talking for a very long time, so I will stop now. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. But before you click off, I'm going to tell you about this week's childhood cancer organization because it is Child Cancer Awareness Month. So the organization that we're going to talk about today is the Make-A-Wish Foundation. You've probably heard of it. It's pretty big. They help kids with all sorts of different types of chronic illnesses, but especially childhood cancer. And basically, a child can make a wish, so they can choose basically whatever they want. And then this organization does everything in their power to make it come true. So whether it's a trip, meeting a famous person, or getting to experience something that they've always wanted to experience, this foundation helps them. And so there's tons of ways that you can help out, whether it's raising money or being someone who, helps make a wish come true. You can help out. So if you want to learn more about this organization, I really recommend that you do learn how you can help out, do your own research, because it's a cause that, I think with child cancer, a lot of people just think of treatments and bills, and that's all valid. But there also is just that childhood wonder that sometimes can get taken away when a child goes through an experience like that. And this organization really helps bring that back and sort of give them a mental vacation from what they're going through. And it's an organization that I personally really want to support more. So I really do recommend that you go and find out how you can help. Thanks. So that is a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for listening and for always supporting the podcast. Remember to follow us everywhere you get podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, Breakers, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Wait and See Podcast. And if you want to be part of interactive episodes or just see what's going on, I recommend that you go follow us on Instagram at Wait and See Podcast. It's free. Go do it. Anyway, thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.